Good morning from day 3 aboard the Disney Dream. Today we're in Palermo.
Our first port.
Yes, in Sicily. Very excited for this. We pulled into port around 6 o'clock this morning, but beautiful port from what we can see. Little industrial close to the ship, but some beautiful mountains around us, so very excited to explore today. We have a reservation for lunch at a Michelin Bib Gourmand restaurant, so very excited for that this afternoon. And then I think just otherwise exploring a little bit, seeing what we can get into. No Disney excursion today for us.
This was the port that was added after Villefranche was deleted from the itinerary.
Yes.
So there really weren't a ton of excursions offered for this port. So just thought, let's see what we can see on our own, not be gone off the boat forever, and then just come back and enjoy the ship once we're ready.
Yeah. So now it's time to
Because it's also pirate night.
It is pirate night tonight.
So, I mean, we got to primp and stuff for that.
Yes, big day ahead. So now it is time to head to breakfast, get some food in us before we head off the ship. So, let's go. Our first stop of exploring Palermo on our own was to this building, which is the Teatro Massimo Vittorio Emanuele, otherwise known as the Teatro Massimo. And this is the third largest opera house in all of Europe, right behind the Palais Garnier in Paris and the KK Hofopernhaus in Vienna. The Teatro Massimo opened its doors in 1897. For a long time, there had been talk of building a big new theater in Palermo, worthy of the second biggest city in southern Italy after Naples. Palermo in the second half of the 19th century was engaged in getting itself a new identity in the light of the new national unity. So here we did a guided tour, which was €12 per person, and it was offered in both English and Italian. So our tour guide did her whole spiel in English and then did it all over again in Italian, which was very helpful. Our first stop on the tour was to go in the theater itself, and we learned that this is a 1,300 seat capacity theater when you combine all 5 tiers of seats as well as the gallery below. And its unique horseshoe shape is very common among Italian theaters. We also learned that the stage in this opera house is the second largest stage in all of Europe, right behind the Palais Garnier. Our tour guide also drew our attention to the ceiling of the theater in this beautiful artwork which depicts the triumph of music among its 11 pedals. And we were told that all 11 pedals actually are hooked up to a rope system and can be raised and open up to allow for ventilation of the opera house, which is still in operation today. We were also given a little bit of free time to explore the theater, but not get too close to the stage since they were setting up for an event later that day. Our guide also invited us to turn around and admire the royal guest box and take note of all of the chandeliers all over the theater that are made with Murano glass from Venice. So very fancy glass, very expensive glass, but so pretty up close. We were also given a chance to explore the royal guest box and see it up close and see what the view is from the royal guest box, which was super cool. And the last main stop on our tour was this room here, which is kind of like a meeting hall. And this hall was complete with some more beautiful artwork on the ceiling. And this hall was also very unique because of the acoustics. So it was actually very hard to hear in this room because the echoing was so bad. However, when you are in the middle of the room, the entire room can hear you perfectly, which is very, very strange. We also learned that to achieve this effect in this room, there's several doors around this room. There are actually 14 doors, but 7 of which are fake, as our guide is showing us here. There's just a wall behind the door. Overall, this was a very quick tour, probably about an hour or so, but it was very enjoyable to see a historic building related to the Italian opera. And in addition to being famous for the Italian opera, this building was also used in several scenes of The Godfather Part 3, including the ending scene where the shooting occurred on the steps of the Teatro Massimo. So that wrapped up our tour of Teatro Massimo, so it was time to head over to our next stop, which was lunch. After exploring a bit, it was time to head to our lunch reservation at a place called Buatta Cucina. This was about a mile from the port, and the reason we chose this place was because it is recognized by Michelin in the Michelin Guide. However, this is not a Michelin star restaurant, but rather a Bib Gourmand, which is a relatively new award that was created in 1997, and the Bib Gourmand Award recognizes restaurants that offer good food at a reasonable price. So we sat down for our meal to enjoy our first ever Michelin recognized restaurant. And the menu is fairly small but diverse with different Sicilian cuisines and specialties. But the part of the menu that really caught my interest and the reason we chose this restaurant was because they offer a tasting menu. So you get a 6-course tasting menu, 3 starters, 1 first dish, and 1 second dish, and 1 dessert for €52. So we started off with some house wines. So Hannah got the white wine and I tried the red wine, and these were €7 a piece. Then we were presented with our bread for the table, which was excellent, followed by our welcome dish, which was house-made sfincione, which is the Sicilian version of pizza, served with a side of little liqueur. So a very nice little welcome that we really thoroughly enjoyed. Hannah started off with the cheese appetizer, which she described as gooey goodness. There was the option of getting it served with or without anchovies, and she was brave and got the anchovy on top, but said she would skip it next time so she could focus on the decadent cheese taste instead. For her main, Hannah tried the pasta alla norma, which was the eggplant pasta, which was a very fresh-tasting dish. A few bites of the eggplant were a bit sour, but overall a very tasty dish. This was not her favorite pasta in Italy, but a solid vegetarian-friendly option that she'd eat again, and the pasta also gets bonus points for being a fun shape. And this was also served with a side of freshly shaved Parmesan cheese. And as for my tasting menu, I was surprised with each dish as it came out. So my first course was a starter of fried tuna over a bed of lentils with olive oil and pepper. Very fresh tasting. I don't know that I've ever had fried tuna before, but it was very, very good. My second course was also tuna. This time it was smoked, and it was served over olive oil, tomato, local cheese, and cucumber. This was very, very fresh tasting, and the tuna being smoked tasted just like ham. My next course was the one I was most nervous about. This was the stiola salad, which is lamb intestine. Now, this is a delicacy in Sicily, and they did ask as I ordered the tasting menu if I was okay with innards, so I figured I would give it a shot, and I'm glad I tried it. The inside was very similar to a bland shrimp texture, and the outside was very flavorful, but rather chewy. So glad I tried it, but wouldn't get this again. My next course was the soup, and this was a soup with pasta, shrimp, fish, oil, and pepper. Very, very good, very fresh tasting. I was glad to have this one be rather small because I was starting to get full after so many courses, and I know I had 2 more to go. And my last savory course was a tuna stuffed with cheese, served over a bed of sautéed spinach and olive oil. This was phenomenal. I will say the cheese stuffed fish was rather odd. I don't know that I've ever had cheese stuffed inside a fish before, but it surprisingly worked very well. And lastly, for the dessert course, it was what they called their orange melon sorbet, or as we call it in the US, cantaloupe. This was very good, very fresh tasting, and really just tasted just like you were eating a cantaloupe. Overall, this restaurant was so delicious. Definitely worth the trek from the port if you're going to Palermo. And our total cost for our entire meal, including our 2 glasses of wine, was €98. So not too bad given the amount of food that we had, so would highly recommend this place. And after lunch, we made our way back to the port, but we had to stop at a little bakery on our way to, of course, get one of the most famous desserts in Sicily, and that would be the cannoli. So we found a little place called Cafe Luca to get this cannoli. This was a massive cannoli, and this was only €2.50. So a huge cannoli for such a cheap price, and this was so fantastic. Would highly recommend. And after finishing up our cannoli, we rounded the corner to find our ship at the end of the street, so it was time to head back to port and reboard the Disney Dream. Okay, so we are back in our room after our day in Palermo. Saw the Teatro Massimo, had a delicious lunch, and of course had a cannolo.
Yes.
On our way back to the port, which was fantastic.
Favorite part.
Yes. And now, as you can see, dressed in our pirate attire for Pirate Night. So, looking forward to what's ahead. We don't have a show tonight, per se, not like a Broadway-esque show.
There is a magician, but I don't know if we're going to attend or not. We'll see.
Not sure. But, yeah. Not sure what the show is going to be tonight either for the pirate show, because it's listed in the Navigator as the Mickey's Pirates in the Caribbean, which is the family-friendly show, but that's at 10 o'clock. So
We don't know what's going on.
Not sure if there's fireworks, not sure if it's the Jack Sparrow adult show. We don't really know.
We'll find out.
So, fun times ahead, pirate times ahead. So let's go meet some characters and have a pirateful night.
Arr.
Okay, so we are back in the room after Pirate Night festivities. What a strange evening.
Pirate Night is always like, go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And then it's over.
But first, we got pictures with some characters, but then we did check out the magician today.
We did.
Jamie Raven was his name. He apparently came in second place on Britain's Got Talent.
To a 3-legged dog.
Yes.
He talked about it several times.
He did. He was good. He was very, personable with the crowd.
His tricks seemed very...
simple but done well.
Right. It was simple but impressive. I think the magician that we saw on our honeymoon cruise was...
He did more complex tricks.
He was a little flashier.
Yeah.
This guy was basically just had a small stand on a big stage, but had big stage presence to fill it.
Right.
So it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
And everybody around us was having a great time.
Yes. But then after that, headed to dinner, and dinner this evening for us was yet again at Enchanted Garden for Pirate Night. Was the usual Pirate Night menu.
Yes.
So we've talked about that before, but good stuff.
Had the crab cake, the samosa.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the highlights.
Yes.
We took our dessert to go, though, because we were trying to get to the festivities on the deck party and fireworks.
Yes. On this sailing, so there's 2 dining times for the cruises, and we are always in the late dining, which is typically 8:15 p.m. On this sailing, because we are in port for so long, it's pushed back a little bit, so our dining time is now 8:30 for the whole cruise. So that 15 minutes really makes a big difference.
Right.
Because it was getting to be like 9:50 and we were just finishing up our entrees today.
It wasn't quite that late. It was 9:40 when we put in our dessert order and asked for it to go. And he said, our server said, you have plenty of time. And we were like, no, not if we want to get a spot to see.
Right. So we got our dessert to go, but I know it's going to be lovely because it always is.
The caramel macadamia nut cheesecake tart.
Yes. Lovely. We got 3 to go. So probably
breakfast.
We'll split one now and then have some for breakfast. But yeah. And then ran up here, dropped off the desserts, and
got me a jacket.
Yes.
Because it is windy up there.
It is. A little chilly in the evening too.
Yes.
But headed up to the top deck and tried our best to get the best spot we could, which we got a decent spot for the show.
We had a good spot where we could see everything for the show, and then the fireworks started and we were like, oh no, we can't see a thing. But got lucky and were able to move to where we could see most of the fireworks.
Yes. It is the same family-friendly show. I mean, both shows are family-friendly. The show that is geared more towards kids, younger kids, Mickey and Friends are the star of the show. But it's the same one that they do in all the other ships, so I'll link a video to the full show up above. But it is the same show with Mickey and Friends, Hook and Smee. And then the fireworks, again, same fireworks as per usual.
There was an
But-
interlude of dancing.
Yeah, because typically Jack Sparrow kicks off the fireworks, and we didn't
Right.
have the evening show to do that, so
Because it ended and Mickey bowed and then they left the stage and then some of the pirates came back and started a dance party
yeah. But then
to Treasure by Bruno Mars and Rain on Me by Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande.
yeah.
So Treasure, I was like, okay, cool. Then Rain on Me and I was like, when are we going to have the fireworks?
Yeah.
But then the fireworks started.
So
We also
kinda
did,
strange.
when we were getting breakfast, see folks rehearsing up on the stage. So don't know if what we saw is the final product for
True.
the European sailings, because it is impossible to do the typical pirate night when you're setting sail at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. So I understand why they picked the family-friendly show, because I know we typically prefer that one over the later show. So, like, I totally get it, but I kind of thought that they were rehearsing to prep the ending to start the fireworks at the end, but apparently not.
No.
So, but basically, we don't know if what we saw is going to be the final product, so we'll find out.
Yeah.
Let us know if you go to Mediterranean sailing and there's a dance party to those two songs before fireworks.
Indeed. But that kind of wrapped up our pirate night. So there you have it. Tomorrow,
Tired.
yes,
Very tired.
very tired, and it's late. It is 10:48.
It was a night of people going, oh, I get it. They're Tinkerbell and Smee.
Mm-hmm.
We got that several times.
We did several times. But now it is time to probably have some dessert, and then go to sleep. Get ready for our big day tomorrow. So tomorrow we are in the port of Naples. So we do have an excursion booked through Disney for tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. But we gotta get to bed since we have to get up and meet for our excursion by 8 a.m. So early mornings the next couple days, but that's okay. Doing some fun stuff. So that will do it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
See you real soon.